Hey Phoebe, I hope you've had a great week. I'm finally getting this video made. I had to wait until I got a copy of the Beethoven. I lent out my copy to another student, which wasn't a real smart move, but it looks like you guys had a great time with Aladdin, and I imagine you were an incredible assistant to your mom, so I'm so glad everything went well. Do you have a performance today? Mr. I has been playing in the pit at Okemos High School for their Mamma Mia production, and today is the last day of that for him also. So let's talk for a few minutes about the things that you can be working on this week. Your recital pieces were great the last time I heard them, but continue to practice them very carefully, slowly. For one thing, practice starting in a variety of different places. You know them well, but we want to know that you are completely confident no matter what happens at the recital. I'm sure that you'll play beautifully. As for the scales, I want you to continue practicing them in a Russian method, just like we've been doing, but I also want you to then work on them in 4 octaves. So I'm going to just move this down so you can see the keyboard. So let's just take D major, for example, and let's do 4 octaves for D major. What I'm after is, can you play it consistently? Do you have a consistent tone? Do you have a consistent tempo? And if you can do that at a slow tempo, then begin to increase the tempo. And as we've talked, you can increase it by using the metronome and by doing it in octaves. Like that, okay? And so let's work on those scales and then matching arpeggios. Make sure you do major, minor, dominant 7th, and diminished 7th for whatever scales that you are practicing. The cadences, triads, and inversions, okay? And then you can even go so far as to play every triad in the key. So let's say you were practicing D major. To play a D major triad and inversions at one point in the middle of that. Just the more you know those building blocks, the easier things are for you. I would like for you to begin to work on some etudes, and so this would be a good choice of a book, Bergmuller 25 Easy and Progressive Studies, Opus 100, if you guys can order it. The etudes actually sound like something, and an etude is a teaching piece designed to work on a specific skill. So the very first one that you could take a look at is The Limpid Stream, which is number 7 in this book. Some are going to seem much easier than others. This one just practices having one tone with the thumb, and then the rest of it is moving along quiet left hand. So that would be a nice one to begin to work on, and you may not be able to get that book by Tuesday, which is okay, whenever it comes in. The tango, continue working on the tango. Let's see if I can find my copy of it here. Oh, you know what? I don't have the right book out. So, let's see how far you can get with that. Be very careful with the grace notes and the pedaling, the dynamic range, and we will work on that on Tuesday. And then with your sonata in F minor, I think the trick for this, Phoebe, is going to be to practice the left hand, or the hands, very carefully alone, and then we're going to add in the pedaling. I'm going to hold up this page. This is page 1, and it's edited by a different editor than the version I think that you have. And I like this editor's pedal markings, and so we're going to use that pedaling. So maybe you can pause the video and look at that page and copy the pedal markings into your music. If not, we'll do it on Tuesday, okay? So again, hands alone. Practicing very carefully all of the articulations, staccato. Loud. Even more. Now here's the big brilliant passage. And then we have to hear a big difference with the soft there, okay? So it's constantly building. And then the idea comes back in the left hand. So here, with the whole notes, where's the melody? The left hand has a little bit of a melody, not much, but we want to bring out those voices. It's not the thumb that's playing F, F, E flat, E flat. So, there it is, bottom note, okay? Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat this morning. In measure 11, the right hand, the tied note is what's the trick. So you're going to have to practice that very slowly, hands alone, working on holding those tied notes because they trade. One measure it's the thumb, the next measure it's the fifth, and we want to make sure that's what sustains this and makes it sound legato, okay? And then we get to measure 16, 17, 18 where you have octaves in the right hand. Be sure you're fingering those octaves 1 and 5, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 4. Now this one, I think I'd still do 1 and 4. They have you substituting 1 and 4 on the B flat to 5, then 1 and 4, then 1 and 5. We're going to use the pedal there to help us make that be legato, but the more you can practice it, just the right hand without any pedal, making it as legato sounding that you can, that would be great. Then you get into the left hand has the Alberti bass. And there's no way around this except to practice it slowly and very carefully so that that Alberti bass sounds incredibly even, okay? And so I want you to practice that hands alone, and we're going to pedal a little bit through the Alberti bass. You're going to have to really play with the pedal and listen. We can't have the pedal be muddy so that it's like, that won't work. It's very light. I'm using only about maybe a half of a pedal, maybe not even quite that in that section as I'm pedaling it, okay? So then you get into the brilliant run in the right hand on the top of the second page. Let's see. And so this business has to have some direction because it's very boring. It's the same thing over and over again. So we want to give that line a little bit of direction. Start softer. And then suddenly we're forte all over again in measure 37. Beethoven is a master at this. You'll be playing along very quietly, and then the next thing you know you have a big forte, and we want to bring out the characters that are in this piece, okay? One thing I'd like for you to do is try to figure out the harmonic structure of this, the first half of the first movement. So we start in F minor. Where is he going and where does he end up by measure 48? And there's a theme there, an arching theme. We don't need the harmonic structure of every measure, but just what's the big thing that he's doing? Is he going tonic to dominant, tonic to subdominant? See if you can figure that out. Really and truly, that's a lot of things for you to be working on between now and Tuesday if you have the time. And if you don't, because it's the end of the year, I certainly understand that, and we will work in lessons on Tuesday. I hope you have a great day. Let me turn you back so you can see me. So I hope you have a great day and enjoy this beautiful sunny Sunday. I'm headed outside here in a little bit. Then I got lessons all afternoon for makeups, and I will see you Tuesday. Thanks.